Jolly good show, Major.
What's going on, TTC? Proper conversation. We're going on the road to play Adrian Peterson and Adrian Peterson. That's pretty much it. That's pretty much all we're dealing with the Minnesota Vikings. The Minnesota Vikings, let me show you something. Which team in this graphic is the worst team in the playoffs? Some of you might automatically point to the Washington Redskins, but I'm going to say no. I'm going to say the worst team on this page out of the 6 teams that, as of right now, are the 6 best teams in the NFC. Okay? The 6 best teams in the National Football Conference side of the NFL. The worst of those 6 teams is the Minnesota Vikings. None of the teams that the Vikings have beaten this season are teams that are either legit, they're in the same boat as what I previously said Arizona was in. Now, Arizona has gone ahead and at this point proven me wrong. I figure that Arizona, I still say Arizona's going to fall sooner or later. With 5 games left to play, I say they're still going to fall. Minnesota is in that same boat that I put Arizona in. Arizona's won a couple more games since I said that than I thought they would, but I still say it's going to happen. Minnesota is going to happen. All right? Minnesota lost to San Francisco. From their position, should have been a legit, in week 1 was supposed to be a legit team. It ended up not being that legit of a team, but they lost to them. They played the Denver Broncos. They lost to the Denver Broncos. They played the Green Bay Packers. They lost to the Green Bay Packers. They've beaten Atlanta. It's on the fence. They beat the Rams. They beat the Raiders. They beat the Chargers. A couple other teams. You know, and they beat the Chiefs. And the Chiefs have started to win some games here as of late, but early on they weren't playing that great. So the Minnesota Vikings have yet to put themselves that now they pulled ahead of Green Bay because Green Bay's dropped a couple games, but they have yet to, as far as I'm concerned, establish themselves as that real champion. They haven't championed themselves yet. Okay, nobody's crowning Minnesota Vikings. Nobody's crowning the Minnesota Vikings. All right, they've got one Adrian Peterson on their team that makes their offense dangerous, and the Achilles heel is the man that has to touch the ball every single time the ball is snapped, and that's their quarterback Bridgewater. Teddy Bridgewater is the biggest fake of a quarterback, maybe in the NFL as far as starting quarterbacks go. I watched the Atlanta game. Not only did I watch the Atlanta game live, I had the NFL Sunday Ticket the streaming version of NFL Sunday Ticket, so I went back and rewatched the game afterwards, just so I could see what we were going up against on Sunday. And Teddy Bridgewater is a joke. Teddy Bridgewater is probably the only quarterback in the NFL that gets worse the more time he has. If Teddy Bridgewater is in the pocket, the longer he's in the pocket, the worse he does. He either ends up sitting there till he gets chased out of the pocket and throws a bad pass, or he sits in the pocket and throws a bad pass. He sat there in the pocket and missed his tight end. His tight end had 10 yards on the nearest defender in the back of the end zone, and he threw it right to old boy from Atlanta. Teddy Bridgewater sucks. The only thing that they have in Minnesota is Adrian Peterson. Now, Adrian Peterson has done a hell of a job this season. He leads the NFL in rushing by about 3 games worth of rushing yards. So you can't even argue with that. Their offense goes like this. It's Adrian Peterson, play action, underneath routes, okay? And then they come with the delayed handoff. Now, the Adrian Peterson run, the first and second down type runs, the power runs, those, I think the Seattle Seahawks will be able to get a handle on that. The problem is when they start running the delayed handoffs. I didn't see Teddy Bridgewater go over the top but a couple of times in that game, and one of those couple of times was a pick. So Teddy Bridgewater is going to throw the ball underneath. They spread the field, run guys down they flank guys on the sidelines. They get the defense spread out and throw underneath. That's what they do. Teddy Bridgewater's not throwing that ball down the field. So hopefully, I don't see in the way that Seattle plays coming to tackle to crash on underneath routes. We usually do that very well. So I don't see that being an issue. As long as we can get in the lead, as long as we can get in the lead early and take Adrian Peterson out of the game, or we can't really take Adrian Peterson out of the game, but as long as we can get in the lead early, we can get up by 2 scores. It doesn't have to be 2 touchdowns. Just make it a 2-score game early. It's going to shift Minnesota's play calling just a little bit. If we let them score first and they take the lead, it could be a long day. If they get the lead at any point whatsoever on Sunday, it could be a problem. Because they're just giving the ball to Adrian Peterson. He's going to wear down the defense. That's what he does. And he gets better as the game goes on. The Vikings defense, although their defense they ranked fairly high this year in the NFL, their defense didn't really show me anything extra special. Now, they got 2 good corners. They got Terrence Newman and Captain Munnerlyn out there. But their safeties are whack. And really, even with those 2 good corners, I don't really see that their defense is really all that great. They don't do anything extra special. They just do the textbook stuff really good. For example, making tackles. They tackle very well. That's what I noticed by watching the game and rewatching the game is they just don't miss tackles. However, on their front 7 does not get off blocks very well. I saw old boy from Philly. I keep saying Philly. Old boy from Atlanta run the ball up the gut and around the side all day long. Every single time they ran a stretch run, the running back got to the corner. The defensive linemen of the Minnesota Vikings cannot get off blocks. At least they couldn't against Atlanta. So if Atlanta was able to, I can't remember the running back's name for Atlanta. If he was able to rush for over 110 yards against them, I have to believe that Thomas Rawls can do the same thing. Matty Ice, okay, didn't play well at all. Matty Ice played like crap, and that's why Atlanta lost that game. He was off target a lot. He threw a terrible pick in the middle of the field. I think in either the second or the third quarter. Matty Ice was ice cold, and that's why Atlanta lost that game. Atlanta should have won. They had a couple of bad penalties that screwed them over. They should have beat Minnesota. And then they let Adrian Peterson break that long run in the end. That just pretty much put the nail in the coffin. Stario Ravish. I know he's gonna get up on his little hate week video talking about we gonna play the Seattle Chicken Hawks, and we're gonna pluck the feathers out of the Seattle Chicken Hawks. Stario, man. Man, Stario, you guys don't have a chance. Stario, we're gonna go ahead and beat Minnesota in their own house, and Green Bay is gonna beat you guys later on, and they will take the division back from you. So Minnesota, you better hope that you find a way to beat Arizona or Chicago, because Green Bay is going to beat you, and maybe even the Giants might beat you. So. Yeah, you guys have some realization coming your way. Okay, you're gonna get hit with a dose of reality, and it's starting on Sunday. Thomas Rawls is gonna rush for 125, 130 yards. I was worried about the weather. It's not gonna be cold. It's gonna be pretty much like Seattle type weather in Minnesota on Sunday. So I'm not worried about that. The way we played, no Jimmy Graham, no problem. Matter of fact, I think our offense is going to run even smoother without Jimmy Graham than it did with it. I said in my previous video, I think that we have there was a little bit of a Percy Harvin effect with Jimmy Graham there. Not that we changed our game plan like we did for Percy. I think we changed our game plan for Percy. We didn't change our game plan for Jimmy Graham, but we were just, I think it just, the feeling that we needed to get the ball to him was affecting judgment and everything else. So without him in there, and you saw what happened. I think, Luke Wilson it's going to be more of a cohesive fit with Luke Wilson in there. Minnesota goes down by 10 points or more early in this game. Adrian Peterson is going to be taken out of it. We played them the last 2 times we played them. Last time we played them, we held Adrian Peterson at like 60 yards rushing. Now, the time before that, he ran for almost 200, but it was a losing effort. Both times they had sorry quarterbacks. It was the last time it was between Castle and who was the other guy? Castle and Ponder. The year before that, it was just Ponder. either way. And now they got Bridgewater, who's equally as bad. So Minnesota has done well to, they've been riding on Adrian Peterson's back all season, and they've managed to beat some teams. But come on, man, it's not going to happen. We're going to go ahead and go into Minnesota, take care of business, and then we're going to go ahead and go into Baltimore and take care of business. Then we're going to come home and take care of business against Cleveland and St. Louis, and it'll get us set up for that last game against Arizona at Arizona. Seattle will win out up until Week 17. I know you Cardinal fans are going to like hearing me say this, and I say it with a heavy heart. But Week 17 is going to be our last real showdown. We will win every single game from this point forward up until Week 17. Week 17 may end up being an inconsequential game, but that's one game that I'll call a toss-up. Now, the Vegas is calling this game against Minnesota a toss-up, and I disagree. We're gonna come out there and we're gonna put it to them. Stario, I'm looking forward to seeing your big afro on the screen, bro. Let's go ahead and see what you got to say, and I'm looking forward to your crow on Sunday evening. Anyway, that's all I got. Fuck the 49ers. Go Hawks.